I'm Julie Zenner along with Dennis Anderson, and here's what's coming up on Almanac North.
Well, the Superior Douglas County Visitors Bureau has rebranded as Travel Superior. Tonight we'll talk about bringing more tourists to northwestern Wisconsin.
Zenith City's newest publication focuses on Duluth's rich park history. We'll talk with the co-authors.
And we'll have the week's top business stories, and then we'll learn about the big fishing opener 25 years ago.
It's all coming up on Almanac North. Hello and welcome to Almanac North. We're glad you're with us. Denny, it's a big weekend for the outdoors with the Minnesota fishing opener on Saturday.
I guess I should go out and buy a fishing license. Haven't done that yet.
Well, I don't think at your age you need one.
I think we do. I'm going to play that safe. So should you.
Wisconsin got the jump on fishing last weekend. Our first guests know how important those visitors are, so take it away.
All right, Julie, they sure do. Thank you. Well, the Superior Douglas County Visitors Bureau this week announced a rebranding and will now be known as Travel Superior. Travel Superior is part of the Superior Douglas County Chamber of Commerce and will be stepping up its efforts to lure visitors to northwest Wisconsin. And so here to tell us more is Dave Miner. Dave is president and CEO of the Chamber and of Travel Superior. And Nikky Farmakes is the director of marketing and promotions for the organization. Thank you both for being here. Dave, you've taken Douglas County out of the name, but you're still promoting Douglas County as well.
Absolutely. We're still responsible for all of Douglas County, but as things change in time, you know, a lot of people look at that whole word of Superior Douglas County Convention Visitor Bureau. Yeah. Well, I'm not a convention, and so they don't know what it is. And so we're taking a lead from the state, actually kind of adopting theirs, which is Travel Wisconsin. We just cut it down to Travel Superior. Sure. We did a lot of research, and most people don't know what counties they are ever in, let alone sometimes what cities they're in. Mm-hmm. But Superior, obviously, with our major market being the Twin Cities, they're very familiar with that.
Mm-hmm. Nikky, what do you hope this whole new brand says to people who are thinking about coming to the region?
Well, I hope that it shows them that we're a fresh and exciting place to come and visit. We have a lot of outdoor recreation activities to come and see and experience, like Pattison, Amnicon, the Brule, you name it. We've got a lot of great places, and we're hoping that the name just kind of energizes that a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Dave, is Superior a destination city?
Very much so. And again, we for many years, and we try to each year increase that relationship with Visit Duluth, because they're the elephant in the room. I mean, they've got a much bigger budget. They're able to do it. But the Twin Ports is what's the destination. No different than when we go to the Twin Cities. We don't necessarily single one out or another. So when we look at that major market, we are definitely looking from the west side of the cities all the way over to Eau Claire, Menominee, that River Falls. That's where our big market is going to come from. Mm-hmm. But again, as Nikky said, we've got a lot of things people can do throughout a short visit or a long visit. But mainly, I shouldn't say mainly, but a lot of it is outdoors, that recreational. Fishing, hiking, skiing, kayaking, paddle boarding. Right. The Brule River, 5 U.S. presidents have fished that. So a little bit for everything that somebody would like to do.
Mm-hmm. So you don't consider yourself in competition necessarily with Duluth for those tourism dollars?
Absolutely not.
No. Do you work closely with the folks over here so that you can kind of coordinate the marketing?
We do. We have a very good relationship with Visit Duluth and all of our tourism partners, not even just in Minnesota, but in 12 counties in northwest Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm. Nikky, talk about a little bit about your rebranding efforts. How are you rebranding? What are you doing?
Well, we've changed the name. We've got a brand new logo, and we're also redoubling our efforts for digital and print marketing.
So you're hitting other markets, is that right, Dave?
Yep.
And one of the cities is a biggie?
Exactly. And again, because younger markets, you don't need to spend so much maybe on TV and others. So a big portion of what we will spend will be on digital, because you can zero in so much. You can draw a diameter and say, this is the people we want to attract, this is where we want to attract them from, and you instantly know whether it's working or not. That's the nice thing about it. We're working with wonderful companies, both Steve Greenfield on a local basis and data marketing out of St. Cloud to do that technical, but we watch it as it goes. Nikki will have a monitor on her screens telling her, is this campaign working? And if it's not, you don't have to wait 30 days to shift it. You can tweak it immediately.
Mm-hmm. Nikki, from watching the social media and the marketing activity on your website, what are you finding about the people who are checking you out?
Well, it's everybody. You can look on any post that we have and the people that are liking it. It's not just one age demographic specifically. It's going to be, your mom and pops, your young families, your young kids that are just getting into college. It's pretty much everyone that's checking in and looking at us, but it's just nice to see that so many people are getting engaged.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Would it cost less for people to, say, eat and sleep in Superior than if they came over to Duluth to stay a night?
It depends, where you're going to eat. We have, some less taxes than Duluth when it comes to food and beverage and some of those, though we're looking at implementing those for our Better Cities plan. I think at the bottom end, what we've seen is more people are coming for shorter, more frequent trips, spending 2-3 days and doing that multiple times throughout the summer than that week-long vacation. What we've noticed over the years is we're definitely a drive-to destination. Hats off to the airport authority, and I know they're looking at the Phoenix area to do some. We're partnering with them, but the majority of our people are going to come up in a car because they're a little more relaxed doing that. When we look at our resorts in Douglas County, they may come for the whole day or for the whole week, but they're not staying at the resort for 7 days. They want to be able to have day trips. They want to have multiple things to do. So as Nikki was saying, when we look at our clientele, it's a mixture of family and young adults during the summertime, but definitely come fall time, we transition to the seniors. They want to see the colors. They want to see.
Are they also staying? Are they coming up in the wintertime too, and staying in Superior, Douglas County?
Yep, we get, of course, a lot of hockey players, a lot of hockey teams, but still, again, we have the municipal forest in Superior for cross-country skiing, the Brule Forest for cross-country skiing, so we see a lot of that. Not quite as much in snowmobiling until you get the snow, but that can be a big impact on us as well.
Mm-hmm. Are there assets in Superior and Douglas County that maybe haven't been utilized enough, or where you see some real opportunities to make the visitor experience better than what it is right now?
Well, I think that really our state park system is fantastic in Wisconsin, and we have two of the greatest gems right here in our backyard. And the waterfalls and there's the hiking that we have here, and I don't think that that's been just shot to the moon yet, and I really hope that that's one thing that we can really enhance.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Dave?
Well, I think when we look at some of our city parks, some of the trail systems, but definitely one of the things that we can't ever forget and we take for granted is that big body of water that sits out there. We tend to complain sometimes when the wind shifts of what it's going to do to us, but people come here to do that. So when we look at Wisconsin Point, the city has done some infrastructure work out there. This year they're going to be repaving it, consolidating some parking lots. That's something that we're going to really take a serious look at when they're done with it to really start promoting that, because you are right on the lake itself. I mean, and it's one of the most beautiful sandbars in the world when you look at that.
Do you find Duluth and Superior becoming more collaborative?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yep. And again, when you look at when you answer we compete, when you look at the private side of tourism, the hotel owners and the attractions, they all get along extremely well because they understand if we keep somebody here, regardless of what side of the bridge they stay on, it's money in the Twin Ports. Mm-hmm. And those owners have properties and businesses on both sides. So it's only going to benefit us if we continue to work together. Sometimes the frustrating thing is when we go to the state. They see the division between us, we don't. And so there are some programs, grant opportunities that we can't access because for us to do it, I would need to put Duluth, Minnesota. And I tried it once. I wrote Duluth, Wisconsin. Just about got it through.
It didn't work.
Oh, no, it got really close till somebody realized what I did. And then they said, okay, wait a minute, can't do that.
Now, are the businesses who are involved in the tourism and service industries, are they getting on board with this and maybe offering some specials to kind of draw people up here as well?
Well, I know that our Superior Public Museums, they're opening up a new exhibit next week, and that's super exciting, and they're really behind us on all of this, and we have great restaurants and all that are really excited about the rebranding too.
And one of the things we're going to look at this summer for a specific campaign with our restaurants, we've got a lot of homegrown restaurants, as I like to call them.
Yeah, sure.
Unique by themselves. They're not the cookie cutter thing. And foodies are becoming a big aspect. I mean, that's a big market that you can market to. So this summer and into the fall, we are going to be looking at a marketing campaign that will center around all the wonderful different restaurants we have. You know, and again, everything from the Hammond Steakhouse to the Anchor Bar to all these different ones, everyone is unique in its own way.
You mentioned the lake a few moments ago, Dave. What does a lake have to offer in Superior? What would tourists come up to see from the Superior end of the lake?
Again, believe it or not, they want to see those big things we call 1,000-foot boats. You know, I mean, we chuckle because they'll actually look at you. Is it actually 1,000 feet? Yes, it is. No, it's not 900. That's still, again, those things that we take for granted that we see every day, you don't see those in Iowa. You don't get to see those down there. So they want to see the lake. They want to see how massive it is. They actually, unfortunately, sometimes believe they can see Canada. We tell them, no, you can't. You know, you're sorry you missed third grade geography there. But it's the boats, it's the fishing, it's just actually swimming in it. Some people don't understand how cold it is. But it's something we take for granted that other people have never seen their whole life. You know, it's on their bucket list.
You also now have a new young mayor.
We do.
Yes, Jim Payne. Are you going to be capitalizing on that energy and enthusiasm and maybe a fresh face in that position to help draw people up here? Absolutely.
I think Jim is going to be very, very good for the city of Superior. He's got a ton of energy. He's got a lot of great ideas, and he's willing to look at everything. He's not coming in with any preconceived notion. It's let's sit down and talk about all of the things we have to offer.
Okay, and it sounds like you've got a lot to offer.
We do.
Yeah,
we truly believe we do.
Thank you. Dave, Nikky, thank you so very much for being with us.
Thank you.
You had a great story to tell.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, let's dig into our news file archive for a look at what was making news 25 years ago this week.
It's music to an angler's ears as preparations for tomorrow's fishing opener in Minnesota hit a feverish pitch.
Doing boat repairs they should do last fall, and buying tackle they should have probably come in 3 weeks ago, but when it was cold and snowing and the weather was so doggone cold, they didn't do it, so now I have to get it all done in 2-3 days.
Marine General Supply owner Russ Francisco says the warm weather is bringing sleeping anglers out of hibernation. So as you can guess, by today, sport and bait shops are in a frenzy.
Working hard. Gotta get all them fishermen out to the lakes tomorrow.
It'll be fun.
Bill Gates will be one of those anglers jamming the highways tonight to get to his favorite fishing hole. He wouldn't have it any other way.
It's an annual thing. It's in the blood. It's right up there with oxygen as far as a need.
It's a philosophy only a rod and reeler can comprehend. Now to the non-fishermen, these little babies look like they'd make some great earrings or maybe a nice Christmas ornament. But to the serious angler, this could be the lure to catch the big one this year. In Duluth, Kathy Evangelista, KDLH News.
Do you have a favorite park in the city of Duluth? If you do, chances are that park has a rich, even surprising history. A new book released this week by Zenith City Press shines a loving spotlight on the parks in Duluth, both large and small. The release of the book coincided with the first Duluth Parks Day on Thursday, and here to tell us about the book is Nancy Nelson, co-author of Duluth's Historic Parks, their first 160 years, and Tony Dierckins is co-author and publisher at Zenith City Press. And great to have you here. Got a chance to look at the book in person today. Beautiful, beautiful book. 12 years in the making. Did you have any idea going in that this was going to be a project of this magnitude when you got started?
Well, I haven't been working on it for quite 12 years. Tony started before I did, so I've been in on it for about 10 years. And I could see that it was going to be a very big project. Yeah, it was pretty overwhelming at first. I did not expect it to be quite 10 years, though, for me.
Tony, why a book on parks?
Well, it wasn't my idea. In 2005, when I was working on actually the first Duluth history book I ever worked on, Tom Casper from WDSC's gardening show. Came in, he was a city gardener at the time. And he told me, I've got this great idea for a book. And Tom actually started the research in the first place, and we were going to try to make a writer out of Tom. And a couple years later, and he came up to me and he said, well, turns out I'm not a writer. And so we brought Nancy on board not only because of her professional skills, but she also was one of the people that started the Skyline Preservation and Planning Alliance, or Planning and Preservation Alliance back then. So I thought an ideal choice, and we've been chipping away at it ever since.
Nancy, what were the biggest challenges in tackling the history of Duluth's parks?
Well, it's a big system. There's a lot of parks, and it seemed that in the early days there was not good record keeping, and if they kept records, they're not existing anymore. And so just to find the information was challenging. And Tom had started doing that. He and a helper had gone through a lot of the microfilm in the library and made copies of a lot of newspaper articles, and they copied all the minutes from the early park board meetings. And so I had to read all of that.
Wow.
And then, it's really tedious to go through microfilm, and you're looking for a needle in a haystack. And it made a big difference when there's some websites now, especially genealogy type websites, and they're scanning newspapers and putting them online, and they have searchable databases. And that made a huge difference because I could zero in on specific parks and really get a lot more information out of the newspaper articles. So that was very helpful.
Were both of you doing the historic research, or what were the different roles?
I came on board more closely to the end. I was working on some other books along the way, and our Zenith City Online, of course, the website, while Nancy was focusing on this. So my contribution is more those ancillary stories, those sidebar stories you find, biographies, a lot of people, although Nancy wrote some of those too. So it's a mix of us both, and it's a credit to our copy editor, who's weaved both of our portions together pretty seamlessly.
Tony, over Duluth's long history, it's easy to see and read where people have had a love affair with their city parks. But today there's so much more to do. And so many different options to do things, and perhaps there was 100 years ago, 50 years ago. Are we losing that love affair with parks?
Oh no, I think it's a resurgence. I think we had lost it at one point. When you read the book, you'll find that the history of the parks follows the history of the cities. When the city was up, the parks were up. When the city was down, the parks were down. And we've seen a resurgence really in the last 20 years, especially now. You see our newest parks being created by these ice climbers over there at Quarry Park for that. They were the driving force, just like as we've learned in this book 100 years ago and more, it was the citizens that have always driven the park change. And now you've got the groups like COGS who's working with the cities to do that. That's a tradition that's been going on almost since the beginning of our park system. So it's really great to see. And a lot of those things you're talking about, those new things that people are doing, they're doing them outdoors. And they're doing them in communities such as Duluth, where we have that geology that allows for those things. So we've got a pretty perfect place to have a great park system.
I understand more than 250 images in the book, and you shared some of them with us, and I think if we could bring those onto the screen, perhaps the two of you could just kind of walk through what we're seeing.
Sure, Nancy.
Go back and forth. And
yeah, this is a picture of Cascade Square as it looked way back around the 1890s. It's located in downtown Duluth, a block above 4th Street at 1st Avenue West. And so the park board that existed at that time was asked by the city council to do something with this park. It had a little ravine in it and was not a very attractive place. And so they put a lot of effort into building some structures, nice rock structures, and the Clark House Creek runs through it, so you can kind of see a cascade coming down through the building there. And landscaped it with trees and walkways and benches, and so it was beautiful. It was in the center of town. This was a time when people didn't have cars, so it was easy for them to walk to the park. So it was used quite heavily. Very popular park. And then within about 2 years after that, there's a big rainstorm and lots of flooding, and a lot of damage was done. And so they rebuilt it, and they rebuilt it again in 1909 after a big storm. And then as people got cars and started going to parks farther out, it lost favor, and they didn't have the the resources to keep rebuilding it every time there was a flood, and eventually Masaba Avenue was widened and took half the park, so there's not much left there anymore. But
Tony,
it's
what did early
beautiful.
civic leaders envision when they started putting together parks?
Well, we'd had the townships when they were platted a long time ago, these public squares like Cascade Squares, but they were pretty much neglected until the 1890s. In 1889, a couple years after we regained our city charter, we had state legislation created a Parks Board. And one of the president of that was William K. Rogers, who happened to be Rutherford B. Hayes' secretary when he was president. And he is the one credited with that idea of these linear corridor parks along the streams that would be linked at the top, right, along the ancient glacial Lake Duluth beach line with the parkway, and at the bottom along Lake Superior on a boulevard, which today would be London Road and then Congdon Boulevard.
And there you see some of the survey crews, I
Yeah,
understand.
back in the 1890s, getting to work. That's probably a stretch between Lincoln Park and Chester Park, at the time Garfield Park, unofficially. That was the first push, really, was that stretch of parkway between Lincoln and Chester.
And what are we seeing here?
That is the pavilion for the incline, at the top of the incline railway in Hilltop Park, or just outside of Hilltop Park. And you could see a hot air balloon going on, riding. That built nearly 1890s, and then fire destroyed that in 1901. But it was a picnic pavilion, and they had bands and restaurant up there, and it's wonderful.
Looks like there were tour buses already in the way back.
Yeah, Nancy?
Yeah, we think that was about 1930, and that's probably Thompson Hill. Before the visitor center was built there was already a scenic, kind of just a pull-out, a rest area there along Skyline Parkway, looking out over the St. Louis River. So yeah, tourist buses were quite popular, just to enjoy the beautiful scenery.
Oh, and looks like ski jumping at Chester.
Yeah, of course, Chester Park, and Nancy and I are both kind of Chester Park residents. We live nearby. And this is probably around, I'd say in the 20s, looking at the field house in the back, coming down off of Big Chester, and you can see there's tens of thousands of people there that came up. And you imagine that area today with all those people that came just to watch ski jumping. And Duluth at one point was pretty much the center of the ski jumping world in North America for a long time.
As you look back at the history of the parks, did Duluth shape its parks, or did the parks shape Duluth?
Oh, Nancy.
Wow, I'd say probably a little bit of both. The park board recognized that we had beautiful natural scenery, and they wanted to take advantage of that. And in all the newspaper articles and board minutes that I read, they talked a lot about buying the land while they could get it. They knew it was going to get more and more expensive, and develop it later if they were going to do any development at all. And so they took advantage of the natural scenery. They really appreciated that. And of course, the fact that we had these beautiful parks then influenced the way the city developed and what the people did.
So Nancy, what do parks say about a city?
Oh boy, the park board had a beautiful quote that I can't really use their words unless I read it, but about it's the reflection of the civic consciousness and how important it is to have this beautiful city. And it was just a wonderful quote, so you'll have to read the book and find it.
Now, I have heard people say that this book has the potential to really be the definitive book on the history of Duluth parks. You guys have done a tremendous amount of research. Is that a little humbling to think that people 100 years from now might be paging through your book and really
Well, if nobody else writes another book about Duluth parks, we got a good shot at it, because I don't think there's another one really. So. But we're pretty proud of the story that's, like I said, it's a history of the city in the parks and the work we did. And a lot of people helped us out. I mentioned it last night. There's 33 individuals and organizations on our acknowledgments page. And they gave us images, and they helped us research and find things. And this town, we've got 170 park properties, including roadways and even the street triangles. Right, it's like over 12,000 acres, technically about almost a quarter of the entire city. is
That's
dedicated to
remarkable.
Parks Place. I don't know if there's another place. I haven't looked, but I haven't know if there's another place in the world that does that. So we're pretty lucky to live here, and Nancy and I were pretty lucky to be the ones that get to write about it.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing the story, and thank you for writing the book.
Thank you. Can I add one more thing?
Sure.
We'll be at the bookstore at Fitker's tomorrow from noon to 2, signing copies just in time for Mother's Day.
1,000 thanks to
All
both
right.
of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
It's time now for the week's business news from the folks at Business North. Nashwauk Mayor Ben DiNucci says the city is pleasantly surprised by the winning bid put forth by Chippewa Capital Partners to take over assets of Esser Steel, Minnesota. Earlier this month, Chippewa purchased the bankrupt Nashwauk mine at auction. DiNucci said that an earlier bidder, Masabi Metallics, did not intend to repay the city for 2 quarterly payments toward a utility contract, a total of $180,000. The mayor anticipates construction will begin soon, and the plant eventually could provide 90 years of jobs and $1 billion of investment.
When Local Initiative Support Corporation opened a Duluth office in 1997, it released a broad collection of community and economic development tools. On Monday, Duluth LISC celebrated 20 years of successes, including $89 million in financial investment and the creation of more than 1,500 jobs. The group's latest project is revitalization of Duluth's Lincoln Park neighborhood. During the past 4 years, LISC Director Pam Kramer said 165 new jobs have been created and 19 businesses have moved in there.
St. Scholastica's new physician assistant program has received accreditation. The first cohort of students, a group of 30, will begin studies this fall. During their first year, students will gain knowledge in the classroom. They will study in the field during their second year, doing clinical rotations in a variety of settings. Dr. Kim Kruger has spent 3 years developing the 2-year program. With a severe shortage of physicians expected by 2025, physician assistants will help fill the gap. For more on these and other stories, visit businessnorth.com.
If you have a comment about our show, call now, dial 218-788-2849 to leave a message, or send an email to almanacnorth@wdse.org. And you can check the WDSE website when you're looking for program information, updates on station events, and other news here at your public television station. Well, Denny, we already mentioned the fishing weekend, but it's also Mother's Day weekend.
It is.
So are you all ready with something lovely for your bride and the mother of your children?
In case she's watching, absolutely.
Oh, you don't want to give any secrets
No
away.
secrets.
Just want to make sure that I reminded you.
Thank you.
Good luck to everyone out there fishing this weekend, and congratulations to all moms. For Denny and the crew here at Almanac North, I'm Julie Zenner. We'll see you next time.